Let's go.
What's up?
Nothing.
We have some things to talk about.
Yep, we sure do.
Yes. So I'm going to get us started.
Okay.
The listeners that have made it to the end of our past few episodes, first of all, God bless their souls for hanging out for that long.
They deserve an
for those
award.
disasters. The ones that made it that far know that we've been talking about your upcoming fishing trip this summer.
12-week fishing
so
trip.
happens to be the length of maternity leave.
Yep.
So obviously that's not really what's going on. What's happening is Dirk and I are expecting a baby, our first baby. And we are over the moon and we're so excited. Yes, we're having a little girl.
Hey.
So we're going to have a daughter. We're going to be parents. We're so excited. So that's what's happening this summer is I'm going on maternity leave. Shane might also go fishing.
I definitely will go fishing.
Yes.
Cannot wait for fishing season. It's so exciting.
We will have probably a lot of mini episodes this summer that we'll try to record ahead of time.
Yeah.
Since things are going to be a little busy for me. But also going forward up until then, a few of my episodes, or most of them, maybe all of them, we don't know yet, might be a little bit shorter just because I'm about halfway through the pregnancy. And praise the Lord, everything has gone very well. We've been so blessed. But I'm getting to the point where it's pretty uncomfortable for me to sit in one place for super long and I would run out of breath really quickly. I loved the Amelia Earhart episode. That was really fun to talk about. But by the end of it, I was dead. That wiped me out. So mine might be a little bit shorter. And this one that we're doing now might end up being a mini episode. I'm not sure yet because I'm already uncomfy. But we'll see how it goes.
What are we talking about today?
Shadow people.
Talk about buttered sausage. Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does. Why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face.
No, that's
Talking about buttered sausage.
That's not what we're talking about. What in the world? No, shadow people.
You know what that's from?
No.
That's Gary Busey was on a podcast
Oh my gosh.
long ago, I guess. I don't know. I just stumbled across this clip and that's where the audio comes from. They're like, Gary, thanks for being on. Let's talk about the real estate market. And he's like, let's talk about buttered sausage.
That's funny. Interesting.
I didn't know that existed. I had heard the audio before of let's talk about buttered sausage, get it out of my face. And I was like, that's weird. Didn't know that it was Gary Busey and didn't know that they prompted that with let's talk about the real estate market. Let's talk about buttered sausage. I discovered that 2 days ago. I've been keeping it secret from you and I've been dying laughing about it so I could hit the audio button on the podcast.
That's pretty funny. I forgot to give you your new fidget toy.
Oh.
You want it? It's in my backpack.
Yeah.
Okay, go get it. It's in the very front little tiny pocket. So I got Shane a new fidget because if you listen to the last episode, he was playing with an actual shard of metal that came out of my hair ponyo thing that he broke. So I wanted something a little safer for this episode because we did throw away the metal shard. So I got him marble in a net. It kind of looks like one of those, you remember the Chinese finger trap toys? You put your fingers in each end and pull and they would be stuck. It's in the very front little pocket, the very front of the backpack with the diagonal zip. There's a blue and white one in there. And then there's a solid blue one. I got that one for Dirk. You have the blue and white one. So it's shaped like that, but it's in netting and it has a little marble you can just squeeze back and forth. And you found Tums.
A great fidget toy.
No, not the Tums. Put those down. So the marble is great because it's silent. It doesn't make a sound at all.
I prefer the Tums.
Yeah, you like the loud stuff.
I love it loud. It needs to be. I clipped the mic. I could see it going red in the audio when I was doing that.
It was pretty loud. I'll play with this one and you can play with that one.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any noise. It's wonderful. I got a bunch of
I guarantee you I can make it make noise.
Sure you can, but please don't try. Stop hitting the marble on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we ready for this intro?
Yeah, this is this your jam?
What?
Is this your jam?
Is what my jam?
This marble thing? Is this your jam?
Good. I'm not really passionate about it.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
What is happening?
I'm just doing a bit. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead with the thing.
Roll the music.
Bow, bow, bow.
All right. Most of us at one point or another have experienced seeing something move quickly out of the corner of our vision, but closer inspection shows nothing is there. Sometimes that thing we catch a glimpse of looks suspiciously like a person made of shadows. With so many people having this same experience, one begins to wonder why this is such a shared phenomenon. This is
Country Roads
Roads
Creeps.
Creeps.
Said it faster than you.
That's too fast. Okay, so as we said earlier today, we are discussing shadow people. And this was going to be part of one of our episodes during the cryptid extravaganza. And it ended up having to just be cut out because we had enough to talk about.
Yeah, we did Black Eyed Kids and
Men in Black.
Men in Black, that episode, I think.
And that was too much to also put shadow people in. So we tabled it, and now it's time to shine.
Oh, yeah. We did mention a certain kind of shadow people from California in the Monsters of Every State episode.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you'll have those in your episode.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, this is pretty generic shadow people, more
Okay.
modern. So we're going to start off with what are they? And they are exactly what they sound like, believe it or not. So it's basically a patch of shadow that resembles a human or some type of human-like entity that's just made of shadow. It's just like a black form. I mean, shadow is the absence of light, so they typically don't have a lot of details. They usually don't have really specific features. It's just solid black. Or sometimes they're kind of like a swirly mist, but typically it's just what you would think a shadow looks like, you know? They can be adult or child-sized.
Oh, worse.
The child size is way worse.
Way worse.
Infinitely worse, isn't it? I don't know why that is, but it's so much worse. Like I said, they can appear to be solid or like swirling smoke. They're almost always by themselves. They're not generally found with other shadow people. It does happen, but the majority of the time they're alone. And they often move quickly, so you only get a short little glance of them, like kind of out of the corner of your eye.
Fast.
You don't usually get a really good look. Sometimes people do, but that's not common.
They're blurry like Bigfoot.
Right, it's just out of the corner of your eye. You're like, there's a person over there. But then you look and they're gone. Some shadow people are reported to have eyes, which are either white or red, and we'll get more into that a little bit later. But other than
Red is
that,
worse.
there's not a lot of features. Yeah, red is worse for sure. Okay, so like I said, this episode is focusing more on the modern day concept of shadow people. There have been lots of legends passed down, like through folklore, or there's lots of cultural stories and religious stories that go along with shadowy beings that are generally not good to encounter. But that's not really the type we're talking about here. Like, this is just your modern day, 21st century shadow person.
Yep. Have smartphones and everything.
Right.
I think the ones that we mentioned from California were like an old Native American legend or something.
Was it the Jinns?
No.
DJ?
No.
That's something different too. That's not what we're getting into here today.
No, they were called something else. But like a word that, if I could ever remember it, is obvious of like describes what it is, but they're supposed to be like show you on the way of the trails and stuff. So people said that the way that the fog and the sunlight interact, sometimes it would make it seem like there was a gigantic shadow person in the fog. And they think that it was just the light being cast off of people that were walking across hilltops and stuff. But
that makes sense.
That's the scientific explanation for it. But yeah.
Okay, so this type of shadow person, the more modern concept we're talking about today, was first popularized in 2001 on a late night radio talk show that was called Coast to Coast AM.
Oh, yeah.
I think that show is still a thing. I think it's still going. I'm sure it's different now.
Maybe.
But shadow people were first discussed on the show on April 12th, 2001. So the host at the time was a man named Art Bell. And Art interviewed a man who claimed to be a Native American elder named Thunderstrikes. So when I first read that, I was like, I don't know about the authenticity of that claim. I didn't want to say that he was Native American if he really wasn't, and I didn't want to accuse him of lying if he was telling the truth. But I was like, I probably need to look into that because, it's unfortunately common for people to claim that they're Native American when they're really not at all.
Yeah. Art Bell is very popular in the these kind of. We're going to talk about him in the future. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I think that was this kind of stuff they talked about on that show a lot, I guess.
Especially my next episode, I think, to a certain extent, on Admiral Byrd.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's cool.
He did one. I'm just going to interrupt you, but
that's okay.
It's I've heard of a clip where a guy was flying over Area 51, and he called in to Art Bell, and he's like, "I'm flying over," and they're like, "I really don't recommend you do that.
Don't do that."
And then there's people that have called in about like certain things where they're like, they have government secrets to share, and they'll share, and then they'll suddenly be like, "Oh, I'm on the run. I'm sorry, I can't call in as much." And then,
oh my goodness,
there was one where I'm pretty sure it was Art Bell, where this person called in with a government secret, and then the show got shut down, like weirdly. And they're like, "So maybe that was a real one." But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so he was interviewing Thunderstrikes. I looked that guy up a little bit more. He also went by the name Harley Swift Deer Reagan. So that's the name that I searched. And would you be surprised to find out this guy was a big old phony?
I would be surprised, yeah.
I was not surprised. So he wasn't really a Native American elder. He just kind of spouted a lot of junk. But they discussed shadow people and asked listeners to submit drawings of shadow people that they had seen. And so people did, and the pictures were posted on a website associated with the radio show, like pretty much immediately. So that started getting a lot more awareness about this entity, I guess. And so that's when it started getting talked about more. So then in October of 2001, that same year, a woman named Heidi Hollis wrote a book about shadow people, and she started to be a regular guest on the Coast to Coast show. So it was getting discussed even more. And Hollis described shadow people as dark silhouettes with human shapes and profiles that flicker in and out of peripheral vision, and claimed that people had reported the figures attempting to jump on their chest and choke them.
Ooh, like the Hag legends almost.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yes. Okay, so she also said she thought that shadow people were negative aliens. I don't really understand that.
Negative aliens?
Negative aliens, yeah. Like interdimensional beings with negative energy.
Like, or you mean like
Shadows,
antimatter or something? Or like...
Yeah, I didn't really understand. But she said that they could be repelled or evoked with different strategies, one of which would have been using like the name of Jesus.
Okay. Okay.
So
that's better. I was worried you were about to be like using crystals, which I also sell in my shop.
Oh, yeah. The Hollis Crystal Store. All right, so we know what shadow people are. What do they do? Well, people have had many different experiences with their encounters, and it's just all over the spectrum. Some people say they're menacing, some say that they're helpful, some say they're just neutral. So really all of the options here, people are like, yeah, they're that. So that doesn't help. But most people do feel scared or in danger when they see them. Now, that could just be because it's so unknown, because you only typically see them for a quick second, and you're left a little uneasy and unsure of what you just saw.
Yeah.
You don't really have answers, so that could be why you're feeling
Especially
scared.
Something's not supposed to be there.
Right.
Like if you're in your house by yourself and you're the only person who's supposed to be there, and then you see something that looks like a
little
person,
alarming,
and you're
right.
like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
You're like, I need a knife.
Yeah. So that could be what gives people the feeling of danger, or it could be instinctually that they are dangerous, and you just sense that, and that's why people feel scared.
Do you think there's like a reason for that? I'll leave it there. Do you think there's a reason for that?
For why people are scared of them?
Well, for why instinctually they would be scared.
Yeah. Because it's like absence of light.
Well, no, I mean, I'm saying like in caveman days or something, like
Yeah.
they were always being hunted by shadow people, and now if they're here, you're like, your caveman part of your brain is like, whoa,
Yeah.
get out of here,
what,
buddy.
That's what is the scary thing about the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Is like, why is there part of our brain that is really unsettled by things that look almost human?
Yeah.
How did that evolve?
Makes you think that like if The only reason you would be, you would know to look out for something that's slightly not normal person-like would be that way back in the day there was
Our ancestors
an
had
entity,
to hide from that.
yeah, that was almost human, but didn't really get it right. And you were being hunted by it. So the people that survived, natural selection style, passed that instinct down. And now it hasn't left.
No, yeah, I agree with that 100%. There's
Part
part
of
of the caveman brain that knows it's not right.
Yeah, that's part of like the skinwalker thing too, is like
Yeah.
maybe it's that. But anyway.
Now, this, I had heard of shadow people before, but this part I didn't know, is that I guess evidently there are some reports that when people are actually able to look directly at a shadow person, like in the eyes, they'll scream. And it sounds like screechy static, loud winds, or creaky wood.
Oh, the
That's
shadow person
weird.
will scream.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, no kidding, Hannah.
Oh, the human will scream?
Of course you would scream.
Well, yeah, no, I guess so. If you can make eye contact with one, then it screams.
Yeah, so they're like, like
Ooh,
screaming.
that was scary. Don't do that again.
Ah!
I don't like that.
Yeah.
They're usually silent though and don't speak. Thank goodness, because I don't want to hear that. That's terrifying. They're often seen at hospitals. What?
I just thought of the audio where it's like if it could speak. Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
That would make it not as scary.
It would make it a little more scary to me.
That's funny.
I would be like, oh no,
Oh, no, please get away from me.
no, don't flirt with me.
Oh my gosh. All right.
If they talk, they're like, oh, where's my hug?
Ew. Horrible. Horrible.
You should smile more. It would make you look better.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be way, way worse than the ominous screeching.
Shadow people are just like incels, like
Ew. Boo.
it's like creepy guys, like.
All right, back to the notes. They're often seen at hospitals and are considered to be bad omens, obviously. Some people report shadow people sitting on their chests, but that's linked more to sleep paralysis, which we are going to kind of lead into here. And this is where we're going to bring up the Hat Man.
The
Hat
Hat.
Man.
Oh yeah, I can't take Benadryl anymore. I owe the Hat Man money. I don't want to see.
He's going to steal your lunch money.
There's a T-shirt about that. I want to buy it. I owe the Hat Man money.
Okay. So for anyone that's unfamiliar with the Hat Man, this is like an identified shadow person that a lot of people have seen and recognized, which freaks me out. So descriptions of the Hat Man kind of began being recorded online in the 2000s, maybe near 2010, somewhere within that first decade there. And he is, interestingly enough, only seen during sleep paralysis. So what that is, for anyone that doesn't know, we've talked about it on the show before, but when you sleep and you get into REM sleep, you don't move. Like your muscles go paralyzed. You just don't know it because you're asleep. And so during sleep paralysis, your brain wakes up, but your body is still stuck in REM sleep. So you're awake. You can see around the room. You can hear. You can like feel, but you can't move. And because you are still partially in REM sleep, you hallucinate vividly. And typically they are very unpleasant hallucinations, like nightmares, horror, scary stuff.
Why is it scary stuff and not like
I don't know.
lollipops and the big rock candy mountains?
Right. And I've talked about before on here that this has happened to me. I haven't seen the Hat Man, thank goodness, but I have had sleep paralysis quite a bit before. It's been a little while, but I've had hallucinations of someone like a shadow person without a distinguishable face standing at the end of the bed just staring at me, and I couldn't move, so that's pretty horrifying. I've also had hallucinations where like it feels very vividly real, where it feels like my blanket's being pulled off down me, but then once I break out of it, it's still up where it's supposed to be. I've heard like people talking in the room, like in really creepy, scary whispers that aren't actually there.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper.
So all in all, it's a really horrible experience. 0 out of 10. Don't recommend it to anyone. But so a common hallucination that people see is the Hat Man. But it makes you wonder, like, is there something more to it? Because how can everyone that has seen him hallucinate the same thing, like with the same
Yeah.
details?
Same guy.
So he's reported to wear a fedora type of hat.
Mhm.
He wears a long trench coat and he has red eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. Horrible. He's seen always very solidly. He's not the swirling smoke, wispy shadows type of shadow person. He's pretty defined. He causes a lot of fear in people as he watches them while they can't move. And like I said, it's just really creepy that so many people claim to have seen him and have similar reports that ended up lining up, you know? Like details match up.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Do you have it in your notes about taking Benadryl?
Yeah. Yeah. That's down in like what causes this. So there are some other types of identified shadow people. There's one called the hooded monk. So he's always seen in a hood. There are other hooded people or people that wear cloaks. But had you heard of that one?
The what?
The hooded monk. Yes,
describe
it's
it.
another common one that people see. I don't know. It just looks like a
well,
monk with a hood on.
I don't know. I've definitely seen back when I had allergies.
Yeah.
I've been cured for a few years, but definitely like taken a bit too much Benadryl and mixed it with some Zyrtec, and definitely seen some funny stuff at like 2 a.m.
Mhm.
when you wake up out of your stupor and you're like, hey, wait a second. It's July and there's a jacket hanging up,
Oh, no. Ew.
and that's not supposed to be there.
Ew, ew, ew. Okay. So we have the Hat Man, the hooded monk, other hooded people or people wearing cloaks, black smoke mist people, as opposed to the ones made of more solid shadows, shadow animals, which I don't think I've ever seen personally, peeking shadows. These are usually child size. I guess they like peek out around corners and doorways and stuff.
Spooky.
Yeah, hate that. And then the red-eyed shadows, and these are the bad guys. You don't want to see one with red eyes because
Yeah,
they're more
definitely.
malevolent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They scream like,
Hey. Yes. So there's a few theories of what these things are. Like I said earlier, people most often see them out of the corner of their eyes, just in their peripheral vision for a brief moment. It's less common to see them directly or face on. Now, there are a lot of ideas here of what these things could be. The short answer is no one knows. There's no solid idea. No one knows. No one agrees. One of the ideas is that they are visiting loved ones that have passed on. Totally don't agree with that. We've talked about that before. I don't think your loved ones come back and visit you.
yeah, but also that ain't me, dog.
What do you mean?
Like, they're like their loved ones that are visiting you. It's like, nope, cause my great grandma wouldn't come back as a spooky shadow guy.
Right. And like, you're either in heaven or hell, is what I believe. So I don't think you're coming back
Well, yeah,
around.
obvious, but none of my grandmas wear hats
Or trench coats.
or trench coats.
Or have red eyes.
Not one of them, but different story for another day.
Okay, so that's one of the theories. Don't really agree with that one. Some people think that they're aliens or just beings from another universe that have traveled here somehow. Some say that they're ghosts taking on a darker form, which is pretty scary because ghosts are already scary to begin with. There's some type of time traveler. I don't really get that one. I don't know why a time traveler would be made of shadow. But that's one of the ideas. Some people believe they're demons, which maybe scary. Or astral projections. Did you watch Insidious?
Yes.
Remember how they astral
Bunch of 'em.
projected?
Yeah.
So some people think that that's what they are, is people that are traveling through the plane quickly.
We will get into astral projection in a future episode this summer.
Yeah, that's scary. Don't astral project.
Yeah.
You're going to get stuck like they did on Insidious.
The CIA people paid people to astral project into Russia.
What?
Did
What?
you not know about that?
No.
CIA, back in the day, like 40 years ago, paid people, had a whole team release documents about it, where they paid people to remote view and astral project themselves
Huh?
into enemy territory, such as Russia, to view their technology and their bases and stuff. And one guy astral projected himself into Mars. So,
And you're going to do that on an episode, I assume.
Yeah. well, we're going to do
That's
MK Ultra, and that's at least like an 8-part
Oh my
series.
gosh, we cannot do an 8-part series.
It's MK Ultra. You got to
my
do it.
God.
Charles Manson's in there. Every rock and roll band from the 60s is in there. J. Edgar Hoover. Everything good. Astral projection. Remote viewing. Area 51. All MK Ultra. The Men Who Stare at Goats. You ever see that movie?
No.
That's MK Ultra.
Okay. 8-part series coming up.
This summer.
Oh, that was good. That was so good.
You know what else is good?
What?
My friend Hannah at Doing Podcasts, reading notes.
Thanks, buddy. That was
ahead.
nice. All right, so now we have a couple more scientific ideas of what's causing the shadow people. One of them is they're just a sleep paralysis hallucination, which, yes, I think that's part of it. But that only explains the encounters that people have when they wake up in the middle of the night. That does not explain the daytime sightings or when people are not in sleep paralysis. Because that's not the only time it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be an explanation for part of it, yes, but not the other half. They are seen when people are highly stressed or scared and during paranoia, such as drug use or sleep deprivation. So they're saying it's just a brain's response to a high stress situation.
Are they linked any to poltergeist activity?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
That's different.
I was going to say a lot of poltergeist activity has been linked to people that are extremely stressed out. So
Yeah.
They think paranormal investigators, for what they're worth, have said that the poltergeist can be caused by human energy that's not dealt with because you're super stressed.
Huh.
So
That's interesting.
Yep.
They're also seen after taking too much allergy medicine like Benadryl. Like
Heck
you said.
yeah.
Yeah, something about that brings out the shadow people.
There's a subreddit about that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
There's a subreddit.
Yeah, I saw it when I was doing this.
Yeah, they're called. I forget what it's called, but it's like the chemicals that are in allergy medicines and antihistamines and stuff. And I guess like the scientific name for Benadryl, but they talk about like how many you can take to feel like the euphoric feeling that you get from Benadryl. And then if you take like 2 or 3 more,
You're meeting the Hat Man?
you'll see the Hat Man.
Horrible.
So yeah, there's been people that have like overdosed on that stuff too. Like if you take way too many.
Yeah. Now, I came across this article that was pretty interesting. And it said that when a specific part of the brain called the left temporoparietal junction, or TPJ, is stimulated, it can cause people to hallucinate a shadow person or feel a mysterious presence. And this was actually discovered on accident. So there was a neurologist named Olaf Blank from the Brain Mind Institute in Switzerland, and he and his colleagues were trying to find out what was causing seizures in a 23-year-old woman. So they had put a mild current through different electrodes that they had like implanted in different parts of her brain. And when they stimulated her TPJ, just to see what happened, she said she felt the presence of a mysterious person behind her, and then said that he was like a motionless and speechless shadow that was imitating her posture, her actions. And then she said that he was laying beneath her when she was laying down, sat behind her when she was sitting down, and tried to take a test card from her when she was participating in one of their exercises during this testing.
Whoa.
So that's weird that it just showed up when that part of her brain got stimulated.
Yeah.
So, all of that to say, let me sum up those theories.
That is not a jam.
No, there are some really like scientific explanations of why people might see these, just regular hallucinations. And I will agree with that for the instances like being really stressed, being really tired, too much medicine, and sleep paralysis. Because when I have sleep paralysis, I know that those things aren't real. I know it's just a part of my brain hallucinating, and once I get out of it, they're going to be gone. But
It's a really hard thing to realize when you're there.
yes, but also I have seen shadow people outside of sleep paralysis. It's been a long time.
They're in Moundsville.
It's been a long time, but a few years ago, no, like around here. I don't really want to say where I saw these, but it was like consistently when I was in this place, I would see these like black figures moving out of the corner of my eye, and then they would be gone.
Is it the place right here? Like, right?
No, I'll tell you off the podcast.
Okay.
But like, I obviously wasn't doing any drugs. I hadn't taken too much Benadryl. I don't think I was particularly stressed. So I don't know. And I mean, like, I wasn't having my brain stimulated by electrodes. So I don't know what would have caused those, because I mean, it was just in that same location when I would go to this place. Not every time, but a lot of times I was seeing them there. And then now I don't. So I don't know what that was about. So I think, like, yes, sometimes shadow people can be explained by these scientific things, but other times it's like it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really answer
That
why they're
doesn't make sense.
happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Weird. All right, so now for some advice of what you should do if you see a shadow person.
Okay.
Cryptid Wiki says run.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Just run. Run away.
Run away.
Run fast, run far.
But you already said they're fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything to run from because you see them and then they're gone. I guess if you see a red-eyed one that's sticking around, then run, but I don't know. Thankfully, I haven't experienced that. There's a guy named Lloyd Auerbach, maybe. He's the author of Ghost Hunting, How to Investigate the Paranormal. He gives 4 things you can try. First is to ignore them. Second is use humor. I guess make a
Tell
joke and get him to go away.
Hey, how about that airline food? And they're like, ha 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 ha, and disappear.
Yeah. Third is listen and learn. They might be trying to tell you something. Fourth is tell them to leave. And I guess hope they listen. Say it sternly.
In Appalachia, they're go on, get.
Go on now, y'all get out. And then another thing that you can try that several people recommended is pray and revoke them in Jesus' name, which is what I would do.
Yeah.
If they are not leaving,
That's your
I'm
jam.
praying. That's my jam. That is my jam. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was reading about some specific people's encounters. Tons of them on Reddit. Tons of them. And I wrote down this one from a Reddit user called Please Don't Y'all. That was their username. Please Don't Y'all. And when asked if she or he had had any encounters, they wrote, I've had 2. Once when I was 7, I was the only one awake in the house, and I was watching TV in the living room. I looked over at my open bedroom door, which connected to the living room itself, and I saw a shadow standing there, making a big, sweeping come here motion towards the room. I scrambled under my blanket, and when I came out, it was gone. The other time, I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep, and I got on my phone to look at Twitter or something. I set it down, and when I looked back up the window, there was a shadow inside. I could just tell it was a woman. I blinked and it was gone, but it genuinely scared me. There's been the occasional running in my peripheral, and I once thought there was a cat darting around in my house and found nothing, but nothing as concrete as those. So I thought that was pretty interesting because these encounters are the most typical of what most people experience. Like, it's just a quick, they either see it out of the corner of their eye or there's someone watching them, but it doesn't really interact. It's just there,
Yeah.
Not really attacking them or anything unless it's within the sleep paralysis where you'll hallucinate someone's like sitting on your chest and you can't breathe and things like that. So that's a little creepy. But there are tons of encounters of shadow people and specifically the Hat Man on Reddit if anybody wants to read further into those.
Yeah, all kinds of Hatman sightings on Reddit.
Mm-hmm. And shadow people have been included in media a little bit. There was a movie from 2015 called The Nightmare that talks about shadow people and some other things like alien abductions, but it focuses on how a lot of that could be attributed to sleep paralysis. But I want other answers. Like, what about when people aren't sleeping? Explain that. Like, is it always just stress or medicine, or what else is there to it? There was also an episode of The Twilight Zone called The Shadow Man, and that was about a teenage boy who had a shadow person living under his bed. Scary, creepy.
That is scary, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, but maybe I will watch it sometime.
Does the Babadook count?
That's something different. That's its own thing.
Is that a real story thing, or is that just something made up for the movie?
I think it's a real thing.
Tell us in the comments of the post if the Babadook is real.
Mhm.
Do you have any Babadook sightings? That really is such a good movie. I know that, like...
Yeah, it's spooky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for shadow people. There's not a whole lot of explanation to it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that there's so many of us out there who have had very similar experiences
Right.
and don't really know why or what they were or what to do about it because it's just such a quick thing. So I wanted to ask what your thoughts were and if you have ever experienced a shadow person.
Not really. Like the something
Other than the Benadryl.
yeah, the something in the corner of your eye, or like you know, I've never really seen like a shadow person.
Do you think it's all attributed to just something weird happening in your brain, or do you think it is some sort of supernatural entity? Because I don't really know.
Probably both.
I'm kind of leaning towards both. Like the sleep paralysis ones, the Hat Man, I think that's just your weird REM hallucinations. But the ones that happen during the daytime, I don't know.
I definitely think it's probably mostly the brain. Because especially when it's like something out of the corner of your eye, because
Yeah.
like, you know, like you've got certain blind spots in your vision.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
was about to say that, and your brain kind of just fills in the space.
Yeah.
What's
And
around
so,
it.
like if you stare at a spot and then you dart your eyes to another spot, I've read that your vision kind of goes blind for the transition and your brain just sort of fills in the gap there.
Yeah, for sure.
But also like if you like turn, or like if there's like a slight shadow in the corner of your eye, of turns out like your vision, you just happen to be looking
Yeah.
and there's a shadow that is in the corner of your eye. I would imagine that your brain can kind of like fill in that information to a certain extent of like
Yeah. Definitely.
with something, and then the fact that like it might be a shape that, you know, and plus your brain plays tricks on you all the time, like the thing where you see faces everywhere
Yeah.
is like the brain is so good at picking up faces that
Mhm. Like when you see a face in a
Or-
tree,
yeah,
tree trunk or in a cloud or something.
or like
The moon.
yeah, the man in the moon. Which I don't know. I mean, your brain just sort of it fills in information that's not necessarily there.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet that probably like 90% of it is just the brain,
Mm-hmm.
and the other 10% can be left to Spookville stuff.
Yeah.
So why is that your jam?
Not my jam.
Huh.
Scary.
Not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
Oh my god.
What was that?
It's Gary Busey again.
From the same episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my favorite thing.
Weird.
This week it's my new thing that I'm laughing at. So
Okay.
I don't buy jam, I buy honey. I kiss it on the lips.
Weird.
So okay. Listen.
I'm listening.
For listening ears on, please. What's the deal? What is that? Just there's nothing.
That's it. People
Nobody
just have
knows
different
anything.
ideas. Some people think it's aliens. Some people think it's ghosts. Some people think it's demons. Some people think it's just hallucinations.
Well, definitely some of it's demons.
Yeah,
Gotta be.
I agree also. Some people think it is time travelers.
No.
That one doesn't make sense.
Maybe astral projections.
Maybe astral projections. That's creepy. I don't like that. Everybody stay in your own body. Stay in your body.
Unless you're being paid by the CIA, then you have permission. But
I
yeah.
guess.
Well, so is that it?
That's it. This was a mini that we were going to do during October and didn't get to.
Nice.
Yep. So you're going to remind us what you're doing. Admiral Byrd?
Yeah. I'm already committed last week to doing Admiral Byrd. Jeez. So yeah, Admiral Byrd's a cool guy. Really, nothing weird happened with that story. I don't even know why we're covering it on a creepy podcast. It's nothing bad happened.
You just wanted to talk about it, I guess.
Nothing weird. Nothing. He just, he flew to South Pole and came back, and everything was fine. And
What made you want to talk about it?
Definitely not the weird stuff that happened, because there was none.
I can't tell if you're being real or being sarcastic. I think something weird happened.
No.
Yeah, you're acting shady.
No, I don't act shady.
Yeah, you do.
You know who's acting shady? All those shadow people out there.
Yeah.
So, I can remember when I discovered my shadow as a kid.
You remember the moment?
I remember the time when I was like, hey, wait a second. This guy's following me around all the time. Like, I remember messing with, like doing my hands.
Aww.
And I'm like,
that's sweet.
Well, that's me. That's got to be me. It can't be something else. That's just me.
That's sweet.
So it's like when you
just like learned what it was.
You know the memes of like when you suddenly become conscious in kindergarten?
Yeah.
That was me with my shadow. I was like, hey, wait a second. Hey, this dude is following me around all the time. But it's me. So
that's a pivotal moment for you.
I also, so speaking of shadow people, almost, and sleep paralysis, a few weeks ago, I woke up and I rolled over, checked my phone, and it was like 3 a.m.
Oh, the worst. Why do we wake up at 3? I hate that.
And so I was like, spooky hour.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
I get back over my head and I go back to sleep.
I was like kind of funny, and then I rolled back over and I saw something at the foot of my bed, and it was my foot under the blanket.
Oh my gosh. It's so scary to wake up at 3.
I was like, that's somebody looking at me.
Ew.
And I was like, I'm going to kick it. And it was my foot moved when I kicked, and I was like, oh.
It'd be funny if you like kicked your own foot with your other foot.
Yeah. Got in a fight with myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to mention?
No, I think that's all. Shadow people are kind of spooky.
Kind of.
Let us know if you've had any experiences.
Yeah, comment on the posts.
Tell us what you think they are.
Tell us what you think they are if you've ever seen one. What is it doing? Well, let's talk about it. Get it out of my face. So, I got the marble out of there, by the way. So,
why?
I was messing with it and it came out.
You have had it for 40 minutes and broke it.
Yeah, my bad.
Cover it up.
How? I don't know.
Shut.
I was messing with it in here and it was coming out and I was like, oh no.
Okay, well I ordered 40, so I can
You ordered 40?
because they're for my students.
I
was going to take that one that you were using back to my classroom, but okay, so we have 39 more and you can borrow another one, but don't tear it up.
I think I can put it back in. Anyway.
Yeah, put it back in so I can take it back to my room.
Follow us on the Instagram and the Facebook page at Country Roads Creeps. And let us know in the comments on our post if you like shadow people, if you don't like shadow people, if you've ever seen one, what do you think they are? What do you think their names are? And you can send us pictures of some of the shadow people that you might have. If you have any pictures or
draw what you've seen.
Yeah, draw what you've seen. Got some artists in the chat.
That'd be cool.
If you have any selfies with a shadow person.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, crazy. Then if you like the show, you can give us 5-star review on Spotify or your other preferred podcasting platforms. And you can message us suggestions on other episodes that you would like to see us do in the future. And you can tell Hannah how good of a job she did this episode. And you can give us coffee recommendations. And Hannah's telling me to wrap it up.
Yeah, you're rambling. They're all gone. But we have nobody left now. Finish it.
Thanks for listening and be safe driving home. Watch over than I do.
Bye.
Bye.
Not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
Oh my God. Kiss it on the lips.
Gosh.
Bye.